love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop. Don't stop. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop. Don't
Now that was not meant to happen. Howdy, howdy. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Leo. Cool beans. Whoever will watch later, if anyone thought I'm gonna leave you hanging for the weekend, you were deeply mistaken. I want to show you really what's going on, what we're kind of preparing for the beginning of next month, as we're in the final session of this month. By the way, those who did not get it, there are only 2 days left. As you saw in the beginning, only 2 days left, not for the Academy. The Academy, there are only 2 spots left, at least for the time being. What there are only 2 days left is to sign up to the community, to the Discord, basically. At this price, at the $40, because it's now 60% discounted. This this will be hiked to $30, and this will be hiked to $100, so $99.99 if you will. So definitely take the opportunity. Only 2 days left. After that, it's going to be locked, and those who will lock in that price will, of course, retain it retroactively forever. That is what I was mentioning with the 2 days left. Now, let's get into the market analysis. So again, so people will be informed, not to waste too much of your time. I hope you're gonna all have a wonderful weekend, regardless of whether you like what I'm gonna show or not. Now, the price action is still kind of maintaining that downwards agenda, if you will, the downwards trend. Right now, we are kind of sitting at that junction. As you see, we're testing a junction of around 59.14. We have a minor support level, and we're kind of seeing the effects of course, it's very normal. You'll have some slippage within the framework of that channel. Now we're starting to break back down. Now let's go over the momentum and over the time frames, see what the market is predicting for us for the upcoming sessions. So on the 1 minute, it really doesn't matter all in all. It kind of is more bearish, but we know this can flip over many times within the framework of the last 30 minutes that are left for this session. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is beginning to curve back inwards. Looks like we squeezed the bejesus out of this one when it comes to the bullish momentum. Ran through, overbought for quite a while. Now we're probably going to start correcting for a little bit. And so moving downwards, you already see the sentiment right now is becoming more bearish. Of course, these things sort of can happen multiple times, and we can end up retesting this level into the beginning of the next session, into the beginning of the next month. The 30 minutes, if we're going to look at the channel of the 30 minutes, at least the fast one, we're going to realize that we are sitting at the edge, at the bottom, if you will, of the slower one, and the fast one, we're kind of moving alongside the faster channel. We're probably going to about to retest within the following session. That's going to come up on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. We have a session on Monday. It's 5879.74. We're potentially going to retest that junction right here, and after that keep on moving further on. Hi there, John. Hi there, John. Good to see you. Lucas, good to see everyone. If anybody thought here I'm going to leave you hanging, like I said, that's not going to be the case. We are having a little bit of a change in the community, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. If you want to stay, keep on hanging, and sort of, at least if you're watching later, stay for the end of the video and be informed what are the changes and minor and major things alike, right? So you don't want to miss this out. Right now on the 30 minutes we're testing overbought conditions, and that will probably not last all too long, because if we're going to look at 45 minutes, in fact we're closing in on that area of the 80 below, but on the 1 hour we are really at around the 50. So that's kind of hard to determine whether we are even going to be able to break above that 50 area on the hourly. Really, why? Because that means if we're not able to break here on the 50, really what will happen here on the 30, we will start breaking in inwards, and we're going to see more bearish momentum, which kind of falls in line with the structure of the channel. Before we will, that there is high probability that we will test this sort of wedge formation. That's going to be a very normal behavior for the market, which kind of makes sense on what we saw there on the 5 minutes, the beginning at least of this first wave. Of course, not the whole thing. We cannot see the whole thing. What we're seeing on the 5 minutes is a minor part of it, but sort of if to look at it how it works all together, it's the retest of that junction of that minor support level at 59.14, and the channel that we're working our sort of the price action is working within the framework of, at least for the past, as you can see, month-ish, well, half month. So now hourly, as we said, it's really the junction of the 50. I know right now we're looking very bullish, but that's just due to the wave we had right now. And you don't have to remember that this one wave falls into the framework of the 4 hour, just merely 1 hour after those four. Four represent, well, a candlestick and a half for an entire session. As you can see, we're holding behind below the 50 and really cannot break above. So it's pseudo bullish. It's not bullish realistically at the moment, although we are seeing bullish dominance. The K is above, the green line is dominant. It's on the top, basically. Numerically, as you can see, it's higher than your red line, which is lower numerically, just to kind of put it in simple terms. On the daily, we are still dwelling below that 50 area. We're about to overturn, which plays very neatly into that agenda that we were saying. This is kind of another flip over, something similar to what we saw before. Just this time around, the junction is at a different level. I'm sorry for having a lot of itchy things. Long hair does that to you. It kind of annoys you all the time and makes your face itchy from time to time. So sorry for that. Now, I would argue that we are about to curve, but it's very difficult to see on the weekly. What you have to kind of rely on is our monthly, which we're really waiting to overturn. I was thinking maybe our weekly will have a little bit more of a bearish kind of curve to it by now, but really doesn't yet. But that's okay, it makes sense. Probably next week we're going to pick this up, all that bearish momentum that we're seeing on a smaller time frame. Once it prints, we're going to see it play into that weekly framework and of course break below that 80 and start kind of formulating that downward structure towards the 50, and of course playing into the structure that we're seeing on the monthly. Our 3 months, our quarterly does not change. Of course, it takes quite a while. In fact, as you understand, we have at least this upcoming month before things will start developing and changing significantly. Hi there, Mikey. Hi, everyone. So that's kind of it with the S&P. All in all, we're preparing for more of a bearish session as the next week starts. Of course, you can see the market has been really hesitant, not able to break through the current support or resistance level, right? We're kind of dwelling in the very same area. Pardon me, just want to remove some of the junk. As you can see, we've been testing and dwelling within the very same area. We're not doing anything that substantial today either. All in all, the further we zoom out, we realize we've been moving along sideways, really within the framework of 3 levels, as we usually do: that median, that resistance, that support, and that slippage to that very next force that can hold the market off. What else? Well, that's kind of the gist of things. As you can see, very simply, we are still playing along within the framework of the channel, right? Normally as the trend. Right now, I would be arguing that the very next support resistance level that is enough to expect will be either this junction downwards into this wedge, as we said, 58.70-ish. As we start the week, or more, so we should rely maybe on the bottom of the channel. But since we're seeing more of that bearish momentum picking up, I would probably rely on that Fib retracement level, which sits perfectly on some of our other levels, 57.98.77. That's basically the exact number and level we'll be looking at. So this is the level you want to be looking for in the upcoming sessions, very neatly following the channel. That is the S&P, boys and girls, which kind of summarizes in a nutshell the rest of the market. Everything else kind of going to be moving in tandem. Those who want to know, I will reference and show on the screen later on. I'll make another video and show on the screen the video that I've referenced, just made the other day, talking about NVIDIA, how NVIDIA will break down post the earnings. As I was making it was before the earnings, before the actual numbers came in. You were able to see it on the screen at the time. The market was still very, very jittery, and the expectation is the market will still break back down, start moving within that sort of little bit left over of a gap that it has right here. And so everything kind of fell as expected. If you want to know how we do that, definitely do join the community. Definitely do take the opportunity, that's 60% off right now, because literally as the month ends, so basically just today and tomorrow left, if you don't join this is going to be transformed to $100. It gives you a whole bunch of perks. I'm not going to name them all. Everything from 2 meetings a week and having the ability to hang out with us, a bunch of channels. Ranging from kind of, in fact, let me just kind of brag and show. Yes, we do have our resident Tom Nash right here. Of course, is a friend and a member in the community as such, right? You have your message board. We're kind of informed. And by the way, very important to know that once the S&P does break to 5,000, the price of the Academy will be hiked to 3,500 instead of 3,000 as it is right now. Of course, the schedule where I post our upcoming meetings. We should have had another meeting this week, but I was very busy with my vehicle and had to take it for a test and all sorts of things, garage and stuff. So sadly, we had to postpone this week's second meeting. We'll have it I think we're going to have it Sunday. I'm going to, of course, that's what we have the schedule page for, the message board, these various channels, the testimonials channel, extremely important. Here you can read the experiences of some of my past students. Of course, not all of them. As you can see, there are plenty, but of course, some of them are allowed if they feel like doing that and leaving their experience right here. Various other channels we're now reorganizing. Usually we would have here members exclusive content. We already had that. It's not like something for show. It's just that it was all kind of organized to a single channel, but now it's going to be moved to separate channels. As you can see, there are such videos that are members exclusive, made only for the community members, no one else. They are ad free, so of course not monetized at all, so everybody can join and watch them only from the Discord right here. Members meetings, we do have members meetings that happen. Well, like we said, we have these 2 types of meetings. This at least once a week. They will normally are posted right here, so people can rewatch them afterwards. We have our main chat, market talk. As you can imagine, it's all self-explanatory, kind of. The name hints at what you have there, various stickers, options channels, an options channel that, for those who are interested. Of course, we have our Academy segment, and actually that part is for everyone, that gallery part, which you can see my positions, right? Charting 101, various basic strategies and cue cards, kind of more or less basic information to get to get to know why things work the way they do, how they work. Of course, kind of, more or less the basic stuff, right? Of course, you have kind of a, memes area and stuff and having fun area. And yeah, of course, we have our main open forum where we hang out most of the week, and when we have some time off, we join there and we discuss whatever, anything and everything in the market. Hello, Nenny's, good to see you there. Thank you for that, by the way. Those who wonder, there's a link in the chat right now. There's also a link in the video description as well. And that's kind of all the, I think, updates that I wanted to bring everyone up to speed. And now, although we said we're not going to be doing these, but since we're kind of changing things up, what we're going to be doing today is let me just bring up the chat so I can see it properly. How about in our usual format, kind of like this. If you can see an example in the chat right now, do it like so. Let's look at your stocks, boys and girls. Let's analyze a couple of stocks here. We have some time, why not? Let's look over what it is that you want to see. Let's try to give it some analysis. You want to look at GLD. We're going to do GLD in a second. Absolutely. Let's go. Plug is, by the way, not all that interesting. Those who wonder that kind of pick up and then drop, it's all still, again, moving within the same old framework. Nothing all that substantial. Only when we're going to pick up above that kind of 110 area, that's where that wave will become substantial. We're going to start expecting that breakout towards the 1.28. Those who wondered, by the way, yes, Plug, of course, is a position I own. If you want to see, in fact, let me show you right here on the screen, bring it up so everyone can be up to speed. You know what, let's do that, why not? I currently own 2,800 of Plug, as you can see, and 1,600 of SQQs, expecting the market to break down and have that, as a hedge, if you will, right? Well, let's call it that. Join the community, you'll know more. Alrighty, and of course, GLD. Let's do GLD. We're gonna do it here over NVIDIA. Yeah, why not? GLD. And GLD, or yeah, we're probably talking about that one. So let's go. Let's see what we have with GLD. I think we went over this a while back. And we did expect a bit of a corrective movement, and there we go. There's the Picasso picture. There we go. Okay, so I see it plowed through my previous expectation, and now we are at the edge of that channel, right? So can we break down? Are we gonna break down? It didn't break down as severely as gold itself. Let's see. I mean, look, at the end of the day, all of this analysis still stands in terms of levels and expectations to where we're gonna break. These levels are 250, I see, right? That's the expectation, and then 250, 195 levels we wrote on the screen, 185. So those are the expected levels to break to. I see we marked this for some reason. Probably the reason being is that this trend was not meant or expected to last that long. Again, that's why we don't really try to guesstimate how long things work out, because the longer they work out and persist within the very same direction, as you can see, bullish, it's able to then sort of break out. Now, if we're looking on our monthly, right, we're about to break. Basically, this is where the idea was that we're going to start breaking right here. And the 3 months just took a little bit longer. Of course, that one extra month that we're left to finalize this quarter. So I would say moving into that next month, we should probably expect a crossover of the D, dominance to the bearish momentum, and over time start breaking back to the levels we expected. Just now, we're also going to add a bit of a stop at 259.92 and 252.68. That's another thing we now expect. Pardon me. Lucas, their LR analysis. You see, Michael, I almost jumped over your message because Again, you didn't do it in the normal format. Investment research, right, already. And we don't look at other people's analysis here. It's not what we do. I do my own. So I'm very glad for Zach's rank number 2 regardless of. That's something we don't do here. Now, awesome for him. Michael, please don't do that for future. That's something we don't do here. Okay? Okay. I would really appreciate that. Now, now I asked you for tickers, and okay, let's do that. So we're doing XOM. Let's do XOM. Let's see what we get on XOM. Okay, yeah, I see that what I was saying worked out right about perfectly, at least for the time being, and we are now arrived at that was not intended to happen. We are now arrived at the very bottom that I was saying we're going to be moving to. As you can see in the background, these black lines saying that we're going to be moving towards that bottom of the channel. Surprise, surprise, we actually hit that very bottom over time. And now the question is, what now? That is on the monthly, that still is very predominantly bearish right now, and we really, that's bearish. That's like very bearish on ExxonMobil. Why so? Why so? Why? Because of all the reserves that have been found recently, and now we're kind of everything is being prolonged. What is oil right now? Oil right now is 60.77. Pardon me. No one. That's interesting. Let's see what's going on here. I mean, it is more bearish than bullish right now, so I would argue that ExxonMobil may appear to be moving closer to that bottom of the channel, and it did not yet fully finalize that process, similar to what I was arguing that we potentially may hit that bottom and then retest it for a while, basically almost moving sideways, if you will. So that may appear to be exactly the case, and right now we're hurtling towards that bottom. As you can see, of course, I tried to sort of symbolize that movement just, you know, by a couple of waves, not exactly saying that it has to be that formation, but as you can see, we dropped lower, and now we're retesting, sort of making that potentially wedge formation, which is going to be very typical for the market to do. And I would say, yeah, that is definitely potentially the scenario right here. So I would not rush into it yet. It appears to be a lot more bearish than bullish for the time being. I hope that works for you, Lucas. That is, I hope that's something you wanted to see. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we don't, you know, we play what the market gives us. We don't try to tell it what we want, right? COO. Okay, COO. Let's do corporate companies. You ready? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, 4 hourly bearish, cool. Daily bearish. Sorry, pardon me. Weekly bearish. Weekly bearish. Why so? Why is all everything that has to do with commodities and precious metals and other stuff, raw materials, is doing so badly? What's going on? Why is that all that mess from China? Suddenly they need raw materials, so everybody's dropping like crazy? What is that? What's going on? Alright, we are still actively bearish, but maybe not for long. We are potentially going to retest what we may see through the noise right here. In fact, you see, boys and girls, even without knowing proper technicals, of course, I don't advise you doing that, but sometimes your naked eye can sort of eyeball and identify various support and resistance levels. And maybe it's hard to identify, of course, as we are moving within the framework of this diagonal channel upwards. If you're going to be very attentive, the market already ended up testing this, which now we're transitioning back to that. I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to slip through and retest this again. And at the end of the day, these are our, if you will, you know, hay walls, right? And these are the metal walls that actually end up, well, at least at the time being, that 62, 66 level ends up being our actual stop, which you can identify. It already been retested to death right here before, so quite a significant level, more so I would argue probably here. If we zoom in deeper, right? English much, bro? So if we're gonna sort of look at the more granular price action, we're probably gonna identify that I'm right about this. as you can see right there within these sort of little bubbles that we marked, right, you can see the retest, the aggressive retest of the market of these very levels, and how many times it happened through a longer period. You need to understand that all these blue and yellow lines signify a session, a day, right? That's when we go through from pre and post market. So look how many days, right? It almost becomes sort of merges in, and you cannot see the separation between the days, or just simply look at the chronological scale right here at the bottom. We've retested the 62 level on ExxonMobil, if you will. Next one, COO, sorry, on COO right here, so many times that arguably that is made out of cement at this stage, so it's not going to be all that surprising. By the way, if you zoom in deeper, right, pardon me, all that dental work screwed up my speech, so I'm sorry for that. So yeah, you kind of can see through the noise how that price action retested and respected that level throughout the sessions. You can see it's a very, very strong level. In fact, arguably this entire dip was happening to retest that level, or at least ended up residing on that very level, that 62.66. So it's quite strong, as you can identify. And as we go further, now why is it so relevant? Now below and behold, we are now retested it again, and potentially we'll retest it again right here as we're closing in on it. So it's not going to be all that surprising. Let me just kind of remove the junk, or at least try to remove the junk and the noise from the chart. There you go. So it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to retest that very same level, as I was trying to say right here. Okay, so within the framework of this channel, whether it's going to happen one way or another, this way, that way, doesn't matter. With some slippage, yes, as long as we move within the framework of this channel. If we slip a little bit out here, there, that's normal. That is very normal behavior for the price action. As you can see right here, it sort of implies that we're about to move further lower. As you can see, becoming more bearish dominant, breaking below the 80% range on the stochastic RSI. On the weekly, which is significant enough, arguably, you are in oversold conditions. Of course, you might have some entanglement crossover right here, but still it appears to be bearish. And as you're moving into the new month right now, this still appears to be significantly bearish. And so very much plays in line into that 62, and the retest of that level is below. So yeah, probably. That's it. That is it with COO. What else? Another ticker, boys and girls, if you want to. We have a couple more minutes. I'm going to do another ticker if you want to. Let's look at what the market has been doing so far. Starting to correct inwards into the channel. Big surprise, right? Nothing that we could have not expected. As you can see, exactly as we were saying, since we're hitting the ceiling, we're starting to get that narrative and direction of the price action downwards, basically more selling than buying, which overtakes the direction of the price action. As you can see, we're moving exactly within that channel as well. So all very neatly organized, and the market is very aware of the levels we are testing as we're moving through them. Absolutely, Johnny, absolutely. Much love, brother. I'm always happy to oblige. You always bring interesting stuff. This time, nothing that crazy. You know, we just went over plug in the beginning, Mickey, but I don't mind going over it again. Mickey, the idea with plug is pretty simple. We are looking at an overarching, far larger channel, right, which is going to take a little while. And as you can see right now, what on the daily, that sort of tiny little move that you've been seeing is us moving within the framework of the overbought and kind of, buying back in. But really, if you pay attention, we're moving sideways with what is already known to us to be this very kind of low. Look at 1.28. Look at that point, and now look at the price action at 180. Right, and you will identify that these levels are already known to us and have been retested multiple times, as you can see exactly. In fact, you can see the dotted line, which represents where we are exactly right now, and you can see we're basically at the bottom. That's why you saw me the other day pick up what was that, 600, 800 more stocks on plug. So yeah, I mean, that's yeah. In fact, if you have any doubts, let me bring up my screen again. In fact, it was, we can see that was 800, yeah, 800 on the 28th, literally 2 days ago. And you can see my position right now is 2800. That's the most updated position. So that's, by the way, that's just one of the benefits of the Discord. From the various conversations, the tickers, the updated, the members exclusive content, which is probably the most valuable thing when if it's in written form, if it's in video form, it doesn't matter. I pretty much work almost 24/7. I rest very rarely. You can ask my community members. I really truly put my heart and soul into this community, whether it's the academy members, whether it's just the various Patreon tiers. It doesn't matter. This is my headquarters, if you will, the main hub of all of this thing. So when you do subscribe onto Patreon right here, to these tiers, on Patreon, just to kind of keep it clear, by the way, you can actually make it even cheaper by moving this little ticker and actually subscribing annually right away. You actually will end up paying a little less. I mean, why not, right? But right now, just remember, this is 60% off. Definitely don't miss out. Join the community. The address is patreon.com/investory. Pretty simple, self-explanatory, right? Join in. You'll have various awesome perks and a lot more that is not even written right here. So definitely join in. That will grant you access to this channel, so to all these channels. But very important to note that when you do join, and if you haven't yet connected your accounts, don't just neglect going over these two channels. I'll explain what I mean in a second. This one kind of explains how to go about Discord, that it's more of an app and not a website, and it works far better if instead of bottlenecking your web browser, actually downloading the application properly and using it proper. This is, as we said, the Patreon Investory. I know the tiers changed a little bit. Well, things change, right? But that's at the end of it. At the end of the day, that's what you need. If you want to connect your accounts, you need this tiny little post and this tiny little go-to. It will take you directly into your settings, into your app settings rather, in your Patreon Discord, and you will then have just one single button to connect your accounts, and it's going to be very straightforward, very simple. It's just very important to note that you need to use both emails, have to be both accounts rather, your Discord and your Patreon have to be signed onto the same email, right? So definitely when you sign in or sign up there, make sure you sign up with the very same email. And just various little tidbits in this secondary channel. This, if you need any help or any assistance, or you want to apply for the Academy directly without spending your time going into the community, because you don't have to. The Academy members get a lifetime membership for the Discord. Yes, you heard it correct. Lifetime membership and many other perks. Basically, the Academy tier is the highest tier. And, well, as you can imagine, and don't forget, as I've mentioned, that is the very same one that I've mentioned right here in the message board, that the further on, the lower the price action will be going, the higher the price of the Academy will be becoming. So eventually when we hit 4,000 on the S&P, SPX, so is the price of the Academy will be hiked to 4,000 basically. An entire K higher. So definitely take the opportunity. Currently only 2 available spots. Then anybody who signs up will have to then just sign up, lock in the price, and wait a little bit until their time spots will become available, and then I notify you, and then we actually start in your sessions and all that beautiful stuff. Those are not just a bunch of videos. We do it one-on-one, this glorious channel, the one-on-one channel, where I basically stream my screen, show you my trading view, we go over the things, and mostly we talk about the why, not just regurgitate what Greg says, but no, we understand the why things work the way they do. And of course, that will make you independent. You will not have to, just rely on what Greg says. So yeah, plug. Let's go back to plug. I'm sorry I was rambling all along. So we were testing that low right now, kind of very, very normal. In fact, let me just quickly go back to where we were. And what we're about to do right now is we're waiting for far of a larger sort of movement that we're starting to see. Maybe some hints towards, and what we're expecting is that wave that's going to happen right here that may take some time, all the way to September, August, at least several more months, October maybe. We may drag this out for quite a while. These things take some time, and so when we're saying we're going to wait, as you can see, there is still some time. The market is, the price action is moving towards bullish dominance, towards that convergence right here on the bottom, but it takes a little while. And so I'm being patient, and that's why I'm kind of buying in when I have these opportunities to buy these super lows, which we haven't really expected. The lows we're expected to stay on were anywhere between 128 to that 253 area, but let's just call it 250. Okay, we were meant to kind of stay within that framework, which technically is our level right now. That is where we are residing, but this is just currently slippage off of that 128 to the very bottom that we had from before in the past historical low, and so it was retested. So nothing, and that historical low, I mean, historical lows are not all that important. What you see in the historical low is the very same phenomena of us relying on this very 128 or 130 if you want to, and just slipping off of it just to come back and then move within the framework of these. What we are waiting, or at least I'm waiting, you do you, of course, this is not financial advice. Everyone is responsible for their own portfolios and so on and so on. We're looking for 911-ish. Yeah, I know, shitty number, but it is what it is. It's a technical number, and more so I would kind of call it roughly around the 10, 11, because really the levels that we are potentially going to be looking at, that corrective movement that we're waiting for, is between 911 and about 1114. So it's not just this unpleasant number, it's other stuff as well. I hope YouTube is not going to punish me just because I said this number. God damn it. Anyway, that is that. Alrighty, boys and girls, definitely do join our community. Like I said, this will stay discounted for 2 days only, well, a day and a half if you will at this stage. It's 60% off right now. This is, well, I mean, it's going to be hiked to $30, I think. I'm not sure. I'm kind of debating that. So, dare I say, maybe it's going to be hiked 50%. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's going to be $40. The plan is to keep it at 30. I'll see how things and how, like, because there's this extra charge for the iOS members, basically, I need to find out what it will be like, and then I'll know. But it's meant to be 30, just to be clear. It's meant to be 30, so, yeah. Only an increase of, like, 33%, so, yeah. There's that. Much love to you, boys and girls. Join the community, join the Patreon, so you can join us on the Discord, hang out with us, know a lot more, definitely, gain a whole new skill set. And don't miss out on the opportunity to join the Academy simply because the spots are basically, few to none right now. And once they're big hugs, no, mama, big hugs. Why you delete? Big hugs, huge hugs back at you. What would I do without you? You're my awesome admins, all of you, ranging from Stonks to Leo to you to Polina to all of you, literally. Cool Beans in this case. Yeah, absolutely. I love you all. You all are awesome. Thank you for all the help and support. And without you guys, this community is absolutely nothing. It's just me talking to a screen, so to a mic. So, nothing all that interesting. So, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully, I'll see you in the community. Definitely do join the Academy because, again, if I'm right, simply look at it this way. If I'm correct, and the price action, seriously, what's up with that 911 today? What's up? Is that like, what the hell? But anyway, as we're going to be correcting closer to that 5,000, the price will be hiked, and then, don't miss out, right? Then it just will cost you more for the very same knowledge, for the very same Academy. And once we start breaking these, by the way, that 5798.77, we're potentially going to look at the far further, quicker sort of movement that will accelerate, because what it is right now is support, and once it does break, it breaks and accelerates, as we're familiar with within the framework of the normal market, and as we already saw within the framework of the momentum, as it's now closer and closer to oversold conditions fully, and when this basically this bearish indicator penetrates that 20% area, even with convergence divergence sort of entanglement, we're still going to see far more accelerated bearish price action, which may bring us very, very quickly to 5,200, 4,800, and as we know, 4,500, 4,600. Those are the levels we're looking at. What is that little flying thing? Go away. What is that? Go away. Go away, I'll have to kill you. All right. Much love. See you on the next one. Bye for now.